I created a character in Notes from Underground who I believed was one of the most honest portraits of a certain kind of intelligent person that literature had ever attempted. And the reason I believed that is because I recognized in him something I had seen repeatedly in the world around me, and something I had felt at certain dark moments within myself. He was a man of sharp intelligence and acute perception, someone who could see through the comfortable fictions that most people use to make their lives bearable, someone who understood the contradictions in human behavior and the gaps between what people claimed to value and what they actually pursued, and this understanding, rather than making him wiser or more effective or more at peace, had made him profoundly and comprehensively miserable. He called his condition a disease, the disease of overconsciousness. And what he meant by that was not simply that he thought too much, though he certainly did, but that his capacity to see and understand had grown so far beyond his capacity to act and to feel that every impulse toward connection or decisiveness or simple human warmth was immediately intercepted by the analytical machinery of his mind and taken apart until whatever spontaneous energy it had started with was completely gone. He could not do anything without first understanding it, and he could not understand anything without simultaneously understanding all the reasons it might fail or be wrong or be naive or be something other than what it appeared to be. And so he lived in a perpetual state of paralysis, aware of everything and capable of nothing, contemptuous of people who acted without thinking while secretly and bitterly envying them the freedom that their lesser awareness gave them. I wrote that the greater the intellect, the more it must suffer, and I meant that as a diagnosis, not as a complaint, because I believed it described something genuinely true about the relationship between intelligence and happiness that most people have either not noticed or preferred not to examine too closely. The ignorant are not aware of the full weight of what is wrong with the world and with themselves. And that unawareness, while it produces a shallowness the intelligent person rightly dislikes, also produces an ease they secretly envy more than they would ever admit. The man who cannot see his own contradictions cannot suffer from them. The man who cannot perceive the gap between his values and his behavior cannot be tortured by it night after night. The man who is not sensitive enough to feel the full complexity of another person's inner life cannot be devastated by the failure of connection in the way that a more perceptive person is devastated by it every single time it happens. And so intelligence, which is universally treated as an advantage and which ought to be won, becomes in certain people and under certain conditions something closer to a curse, not because it is not genuinely valuable, but because it runs so far ahead of everything else in the person's development that they find themselves standing alone at a distance from the ordinary warmth of human life, able to see it with perfect clarity, unable to participate in it fully, spending their years as the most perceptive observer in every room they enter, and simultaneously the loneliest person in that same room, watching other people connect and laugh and give themselves over to moments without analyzing them first, and feeling something they would probably describe as contempt, but which is really a very specific kind of grief, the grief of someone who has been separated from something essential and sustaining by the very quality they were told from the beginning was their greatest gift and their primary advantage over everyone around them. This is the trap that intelligence sets for itself when it develops without wisdom alongside it. And it is a trap that closes so gradually and so quietly that most people who are caught in it do not realize what has happened until they are already well inside it, looking out through the bars of their own exceptional understanding at a world they can describe with extraordinary precision and inhabit only with the greatest difficulty. The question I spent a great deal of my life trying to answer is whether this condition is inevitable for intelligent people, or whether it represents a particular wrong turn that intelligence can take when it develops without certain other qualities alongside it. And my conclusion, reached through everything I ever wrote and everything I ever lived through, is that it is the second of those things and not the first. The underground man is not miserable because he is intelligent. He is miserable because his intelligence has developed in complete isolation from the qualities that would give it somewhere genuinely useful to go, and the most important of those missing qualities is the capacity for active love, not the theoretical appreciation of other people from a carefully maintained distance, but the real and costly and self-giving love that requires you to step entirely outside your own perspective and enter into the reality of another person without the protection of irony or the armor of analytical detachment. The love that Father Zosima described in the Brothers Karamazov as harsh and dreadful compared to love in dreams, the love that is labor and fortitude rather than feeling and comfort. The underground man cannot do this, and every time genuine connection becomes available to him, he dismantles it, not out of deliberate cruelty, but out of the compulsive habit of a mind that cannot stop working long enough to simply feel something without immediately contextualizing it and qualifying it and finding the 17 reasons why it might not be what it appears to be. He is fully aware that he is doing this, and that awareness running alongside the self-destruction, that experience of watching yourself clearly as you do the very thing you most want to stop doing and being completely unable to close the distance between the watcher and the actor, is perhaps the most specific and particular form of suffering that belongs to a certain kind of intelligent person. Not the suffering of confusion, but the suffering of clarity. Not the pain of someone who cannot see what is wrong, but the pain of someone who sees it with perfect precision and cannot translate that seeing into the change that would relieve it. What is missing in the underground man, and what I believe is missing in every intelligent person who has arrived at that exhausting intersection of perception and paralysis, is not more intelligence but more courage. The courage to act on what they know without waiting for the certainty that further analysis might eventually provide and that never actually arrives. The courage to love something or someone fully with the complete knowledge that the love might fail and the failing will hurt, and the hurt cannot be reasoned away, no matter how sophisticated the reasoning becomes. The courage to step out of the observer's position and into the participant's position, and accept all the vulnerability and the loss of control and the risk of looking foolish that genuine participation in life requires. Intelligence without this courage becomes a prison, the most beautifully furnished and intellectually stimulating prison imaginable, but a prison nonetheless because the person inside it has every tool required to understand their situation in extraordinary detail and none of the tools required to actually change it. The way out is not to become less intelligent, which is neither possible nor desirable, but to stop using intelligence as a substitute for the kinds of direct and unmediated engagement with life that intelligence alone cannot provide, to understand clearly that knowing about love is not the same as loving, that understanding suffering from a careful analytical distance is not the same as allowing it to move through you and transform you, that being able to see the entire shape of your own life from a removed and detached position is not the same as actually living it from the inside with all the messiness and uncertainty and uncontrollable feeling that living from the inside always involves, and that the most intelligent thing a genuinely intelligent person can eventually do is recognize honestly and without self-deception the precise limits of what their intelligence alone can give them, and step with full knowledge of the cost and the risk and everything the careful distance has been protecting them from, into the territory where thinking must give way to feeling and analysis must give way to action, and the self-protective irony that has kept them observing rather than participating must be laid down in favor of the kind of open and undefended presence that makes genuine connection possible. The underground man never makes that step, and that is why his story ends where it begins, in the same underground room, with the same cold clarity, having understood everything and changed nothing, which is perhaps the most honest portrait I ever managed of what a wasted intelligence finally looks like from the inside.